I want to take a moment to recognize the brave and dedicated corrections officers across this Commonwealth that show up every day to a very dangerous and challenging workplace. It requires a very special skill set, for sure. In my time as a county commissioner, Mr. Secretary, we opted to house inmates at our facility from neighboring counties. And it certainly served to be a beneficial supplement to our operating costs. So applying that same dynamic to our state facilities, Mr. Secretary, do we house inmates from neighboring states? And I'll just recall this exchange dialogue that we had last year. I believe that you mentioned that we were housing prisoners from Delaware at a rate of, I believe, 42,000. So what kind of net margin do we realize at 42,000, and what impact is that having on our or your budget?
Yeah, so this year we're anticipating an income from Delaware of about $13 million. That's the good news. The bad news is Delaware's, we're meeting with them tomorrow. They're pulling their inmates out by the end of this calendar year. But we're actively, it sounds odd to say, but we're actively marketing empty beds. Anytime we become aware of a state that's looking to lease space, I am personally on the phone with their secretary trying to fill those empty beds.
Would you look at neighboring states? What states are we engaged with?
We were engaged with Arizona. That fell through. And we had Vermont inmates 2 years ago. They're now in private beds that were cheaper than ours. Delaware and there may have been another state I'm talking to. I can't tell you which state that is right now.
So we are, Mr. Secretary, we are operating below operational capacity, correct?
Yeah, we're at about 97% of operational capacity right now.
So how many beds would be available for a neighboring state to occupy?
I think yesterday we had about 1,400 empty beds. I probably would shoot for about a third or half of those. I wouldn't want to fill every one of those beds, but we have some empty housing units. I mean, the ideal for us is if we don't put them all in one space, we spread them out over the system, because then we only have our actual cost is only that marginal cost. So that's what we're doing with Delaware. Those 300 some inmates are spread out all over our system, and that's ideal for us.
Excuse my financial term in referencing a prisoner or an inmate, but what is our break-even cost?
So marginal cost, if we spread them out, is about $18.50 a day.
And what would that be annually?
Oh, don't ask
Well,
me.
I'm just mentioning we looked at 42,000.
I think it's in the 7,000-ish. Somebody use a calculator, please.
Yeah, how many calculators do we have?
Straight
here?
C's, man.
Well, listen. While he's doing the math, I want to take a moment to recognize you in taking into consideration SCI Waymart and how important they are to the state correctional system. So thank you for that, and my constituents, the people that work there, thank you as well, very, very much.
And actually, it's about $7,000 a year, the marginal cost. Actually, we are in conversations with some folks up there about looking at some kind of reentry facility for seriously mentally ill individuals. So we're working with Wayne County commissioners, having some discussions up there for that campus.
That's great news. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.